Hey, how's it going, everybody? In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up your very own SAP server in the cloud in around 60 minutes. And this is a free trial that you have to renew every 90 days. So just be mindful of that, but there are no sort of license fees. It's a free trial and you essentially get access to an entire SAP environment. So to kick this off, I'm going to go ahead and launch Vultr and make sure you click on this link here to get a free $100 credit added to your account. So you're going to go ahead and sign up. And once you sign up, you'll see the $100 credit is added to your account. But seeing as how I already have an account, I'm just going to go ahead and log in. Okay, the next step is to come over here to this little icon and deploy new server. You can also do this by hitting on deploy instance down here. It means the same thing. Make sure you have the cloud compute selected. And then for a server location, choose the one that you're physically closest to. And the reason why we'd want to do that is it reduces the amount of latency between us and that actual server. For server type, choose Ubuntu and version 20.04. For server size, make sure to choose at least this option here, which is the 4 CPU, 8 gig RAM, and 160 gigabytes of storage. You're welcome to go with more, but this is more than adequate. Anything less, the installation will fail, and your system will not be able to start up. Let's call our server VHC AL NPL CI. And click deploy. So now we're going to kick back and relax for about 10 minutes while our server configures itself with your initial installation of Ubuntu. So go ahead and come back in around 10 minutes and we'll continue this tutorial. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just click on my server. And if you do see this message, go ahead and just hang out for a few more minutes because it's saying I need a bit more time to wrap up the creation of the server. As you can see, it's only been 5 minutes, so I'm a little early. Gonna come back in 5 more minutes and check this out again. All right, I think it's been 10 minutes. I'm gonna hop back into my server. And looks good. That message is now gone, and we've waited more than 10 minutes. So next, we're going to have to go ahead and just give our server a quick restart to make sure everything's all good. All right, so once the restart is complete, we're going to go ahead and click on the monitor icon in the top right of our screen to view console. And we view the console to administrate our server remotely from a browser. So when I click on that, it prompts me for my login, which is root, as you can see down here. And the password is currently hidden. So actually, let me move this out of the way. I'll reveal the password, and I'll pull this back over. You may also want to copy the password if you don't feel like typing out all of those characters. Make this a bit larger. All right. So, username is root. Press enter. I'm going to paste in that password. Let's see if this works. Send clipboard. Press enter, and it looks good. Okay, so we are now ready to begin our server configuration. And this entails installing a few applications, downloading and extracting SAP, and just getting ready for our installation. So if you haven't already, please navigate to sapbwtraining.com/SAP-access. And if you scroll down a bit, we'll see all the steps we just went through. And now we're going to be preparing for our installation. And we're going to need to execute each of these lines of code into our server one by one. So let's get that started. I'd recommend setting up a secondary monitor or using a split screen to run through this activity. So I'll throw this to the left of my screen, and I'll put the terminal on the right of my screen. So the first step is to make sure that our host name is set to VHC AL NPL CI. So I'll copy that, and I'll paste that into my terminal. Make sure my system has all necessary updates. Going to change to the root directory. Make a brand new directory called SAP 7.52. We'll navigate to that directory. And now that we're inside of the SAP 7.52 directory, we're going to be downloading this large zip file which contains all of the installation files that we're going to need to install SAP. And I put these together in one neat package. Typically, when SAP has these shared on their website, it's like 10 or 11 RAR files. So I went ahead and just put them all in just one simple file to make things a bit more streamlined. So we'll send that to the clipboard. And now the download will commence. I'll just fast forward till this completes. All right, so the installation files have now downloaded successfully to our machine. One more time, I'm just going to perform an update check and install an unzip utility. That's going to allow us to extract the file we just downloaded. And now unzip that installation file. And this should take around 5 to 10 minutes. So I'll go ahead and just fast forward. All right, when the extraction completes, we'll begin installing a few applications. So let's install CSH. libaio, UUID, we'll make sure UUID is started, and then we'll assign root ownership to our install file for SAP installation. Cool. So the last step prior to kicking off our installation is editing our hosts file to incorporate our server's IP address. So let's copy this, sudo nano etc hosts. And here we're going to be updating line 2 here. It may be a different line in your server, but you can see where it has the host name there, VHCAL NPLCI, that's our server. And we're just going to be updating this 127.0.1.1 with our actual public IP address. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And I'll just move the cursor over my keyboard and type VHC AL NPL CI .dummy.no domain. And then I'll exit by pressing the Control key and X at the same time. Type Y to save, and then press Enter to write to the server. Okay, so now we are ready to kick off our installation. To install SAP, type /install.sh. Type yes to agree to the terms. Press enter. And now we set a password. Make sure this is a complex password, not something that's a word in the dictionary, because the installation will detect whether or not a password is sufficient enough. So do make sure that it is a password that's very difficult to guess and would typically be a stronger password. Once you've typed in your password and it's been verified, press enter, and the installation will commence. So one thing to note is SAP has still not updated their license as part of the installation package, and this is a license that's it's not the trial license, it's more of the database license. So we can expect this installation to fail in about 15 to 30 minutes. And when that happens, we're going to have to copy the new license they provided in that same install package. And we can't do that right now, or we couldn't do it prior because the directory of where the license lives has yet to be extracted, because that actually occurs during the installation process. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward until the install fails, and then we're going to copy the updated license that SAP provided in just a second. All right, so as you can see, the installation has failed. And once again, this is due to the provided license within the actual SAP install packages that SAP still has out on their website being outdated. They did include an extra license in that to remediate the issue, so now we have to go ahead and just copy that license over. So I'll select this copy command, paste that into our server, and now we have a new license in place, so we can resume our installation. So /install.sh. And now it's asking us if we want to continue or overwrite our existing installation. Press enter to continue. Type yes to agree to the terms. And once again, enter your password. There we go. And now the installation will resume, and this time it will not fail because we have updated the license. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward until this completes. Okay, so the install was successful. As you can see, the installation of NPL successful. We're all good. And SAP is up and running. So the next step is to install SAP GUI, which will allow us to actually connect to the server in a graphical user interface. So let's go ahead and fire up a Windows instance and get ready to download SAP GUI. To download SAP GUI, go to sapbwtraining.com/SAP GUI 7.52. So I've actually hosted this GUI file for everyone so you can quickly get it downloaded to your machine. So here is that zip file in our downloads directory. Now we'll just right click and choose extract all. And extract. I'll just fast forward till this completes. Okay, when that zip file has been extracted, open it up, navigate to Pres 1, GUI, Windows, Win32, and then come all the way down to the Setup All option. Double click, run. Click Next. And now we're going to make sure we have the SAP GUI for Windows 7.5 selected. We'll add a desktop icon. And we're also going to be ticking the Business Explorer box to make sure that we can run queries out of our SAP BW environment. We'll click Next, 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 Next. And I'll just fast forward till this install completes. When the install completes, you can click Close. Feel free to close all of these windows. And you should have an SAP logon on your desktop. If you do not, it should be in your Start menu, or you could just go ahead and search for SAP, or it should just pop up as you're recently added. So I'll open up SAP logon and press Run. And all the steps to add in your system are on the SAP BW training website. So as you can see, for the description, we can call this field whatever we want. The application server is our server's IP address, so of this machine. Instance number is 00, and the system ID is always NPL. All right, so go ahead and just copy your server's IP address, as we're going to be inputting it into SAP GUI. So click New Item, click Next, and I'll call my system SAP BW. This is where we put our IP address. Instance number 00. System ID is NPL. Click Finish. And click Log On. Or just double click on the connection. All right, we are connected to SAP. So if you go back to sapbwtraining.com/SAP-access, you'll see all of the usernames and passwords along with the associated role of each of those user IDs. So to get this kicked off, we're going to be logging in with SAP Star, which is the most powerful user in all of SAP. And this is great for updating SAP licenses, unlocking users if they get locked out of the system, and just performing a lot of configuration that other users may not be able to do. So let's log into client 001 with SAP Star. And the password is download, uppercase D, and the L is the number 1. So SAP Star. DOWN, the number 1, OAD. Click the green check, and we are in. So first things first, we need to update our SAP license. So go to transaction code S license. So currently, we do not have a license that's pulled from SAP's license directory. So we could retain these licenses until looks like 3 months out, so 90 days from today. But if you need to update that license key, you're going to need this active hardware key number. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. And then open up a new browser. And I'll navigate to the URL go.support.sap.com/mini SAP. Press enter. And I'll scroll down until I find NPL. And it's the Sybase version, not the MaxDB. We'll check that radio button, scroll down, we'll input our information, we'll paste in our hardware key, accept the terms, agree, and generate. All right, so we can close out of this browser window. And to add this license, it's not required right now, but I do recommend doing so just to get familiar with the process. We're going to be deleting our existing SAP licenses that came with this installation. So up here you see this little icon that says install new license. We're going to do that right after we remove the 2 active licenses. Come up to the top menu, edit, delete license. Highlight the row, edit, delete license. So now we cannot operate our system until we add our new license in. So I'm going to click the install button. And now it's looking for a file. The one we just downloaded was called NPL. So I'll go to my downloads folder. Here we see the text file that's NPL, which we just got off of the mini SAP site. Click open. We'll allow access to the file. Hit OK. And we are good to go. And as you can see, the installation type has changed from temp to demo system. So that's how you can easily update your trial license to extend it beyond the original 90 days. So I'd recommend setting a reminder maybe 70 or 80 days from today to renew that license, because you don't want to get locked out of your system. So if you are not interested in BW configuration, you may close this video at this point in time. However, if you do want to configure your BW system, please go ahead and continue watching. All right, if you want to develop in BW, let's go ahead and just close out of this particular user by doing /NEX. We'll log back in. And let's log in as BW developer. With the password being download, uppercase D, lowercase OWN, number 1, lowercase OAD. And now we'll navigate to transaction code RSA1. Press OK. And now we are good to go to begin developing in BW. We can scroll through and see what sort of content was installed. All right, that concludes this tutorial. All the content we went through is neatly documented at sapbwtraining.com/SAP-access, including how to start and stop your SAP system. So before we wrap, I'll just show you how to SU NPL ADM to switch users to the admin. And now that we're that admin, we can do start SAP all, and that's going to turn SAP on. Obviously, it's already on, so it's not going to do anything. However, had the system been off, let's say we just rebooted our server, by default, it's not going to bring SAP online. So you have to manually SU NPL ADM and then type start SAP all, and that will then start up SAP. If you want to bring down SAP once it's running, stop SAP all, and that takes it offline. And as you see on this screen here, if I try to do anything at all, it still works, and that means the system's still online. But give it a few more seconds. Oh, there it is. There's a message saying that the server was shut down. If we try to connect, it'll say connection refused. So to bring it back online, we would type start SAP all. All right, that wraps up this training. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it, and good luck in your SAP training journey. Thank you.